Hello, I am the Irish guy, and yes, just as there is a switch up in the Champions League format, welcome to my new Premier League predictions, where this season, I am going to challenge a football YouTuber every week. I'm going to tally up everyone's points by giving them 10 points for a correctly predicted scoreline. You'll get 4 points if you roughly get the right winner or draw, but the wrong scoreline, and I'll give you 3 points for every correct goal scorer. And crucially, I'm going to get every opponent to give me 1 forfeit, so if they manage to top this prediction leaderboard in May, then that's what I'm gonna have to do. That means I'm gonna have a very nervous season. So first guest up, everyone welcome Craig from Anfield Agenda. And go on then, let's see what generous forfeit he has in store for me.
So I've been thinking about this forfeit, and should I happen to win this predictions league, what I would like for the Irish guy is to go bald. I mean real bald, because we all know bald is better. We've got myself, Arne Slot, Guardiola. Why not have another bald genius at work? So, should I win? That's exactly what I'd like.
Ah! 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 Lads, it's week 1, and this guest is tipping me to lose my hair. Lads, I'm already terrified. I don't want to have to upload videos looking like a Bond villain. I've never even seen the top of my head. I don't know what's under there. For all I know, back in the 90s, the midwife could have tattooed a poo on my scalp. Lads, if I walk around with no hair on my head, people are going to think that I licked nappies whilst listening to Pavarotti. Look, Craig pulls it off well, but me personally, I would look like someone who has a collection of human skulls in my fridge. So let's just hope that Craig from Anfield Agenda does not wind up topping the leaderboard in May. Arsenal versus Brighton.
Well, I'm going to go for Arsenal to continue the good start to the campaign. 3-1 victory for me. Brighton are really impressive, but I do think this is going to be a home win for Arsenal. I've gone for Saka to score, Trossard to score, and Havertz to score from the Arsenal side. And for Brighton, I have gone for João Pedro.
Yeah, that looks like a sound prediction. There's nothing wacky or wild in there. No, he's playing it fairly safe. But lads, I sort of agree. I think both teams will score and Arsenal will win. But I'm going to say Arsenal 2, Brighton 1. I'm going to go for Arsenal to race into a 2-0 lead through Saka and Havertz before Yankuba Minte steals one back for Brighton to set up a tense last 10 minutes. But no chance of the Seagulls actually win. Lads, last week, I dared them to predict Man United, and when they did, I had to perform a stand-up comedy routine in public. I've uploaded the full thing as a YouTube short, but here's a flavour of how truly awkward it was.
Hey, how many Erasmus does it take to fix a light bulb? None! He can't even fix himself! Gabriel Jesus and Havertz reaching for the last croissant. And in the end, they said, Havertz your way!
Lads, I creeped out so many people trying to do their Asda shopping in peace. They were looking at me as if I was hanging out of an ice cream van dressed like Pennywise the Clown. So this time around, I'm still going to say this. If the Seagulls win at the Emirates, which they won't, then I will do an entire video wrapped in toilet paper. Brentford versus Southampton.
This was a difficult one because obviously I'm going to be honest and say I don't know all that much about Southampton's form coming up from the Championship back into the Premier League. And welcome back, by the way, Southampton. So I've gone for a 2-0 home victory here. 2-0 to Brentford with goals from Visa and Brian Mbeumo.
I don't blame Craig for not knowing much about Southampton's new recruits, because let's be real, at least a chunk of their new signings sound fake. Who on earth is the Republic of Ireland under-19 midfielder Romeo Akachukwu? Ironically, it does sound like they've just combined the young midfielders that Southampton recently sold to and signed from Chelsea. This feels like a team who just can't move on from their star midfielder. It's like a depressed widowed man remarrying and then asking her if she'll wear his dead wife's underpants. No thanks. Look, I'm not gonna go for the obvious Bees victory because I think morale will be low in the Brentford camp this week because Ivan Toney is officially quitting the club for Al Ali. And I think every Brentford fan is going to be sad. Look, the breakup was inevitable, sure, but to see Tony spoil his career with a mercenary move at 28, that is depressing for everyone involved. A move to Arsenal or Chelsea would have been easier for the Brentford fans to swallow, because it's a bit like if your girlfriend dumps you for LeBron James. Okay, fair enough, you can't possibly compete with his impossible success, but if she actually chooses to break up with you to hook up with that fat 75-year-old neighbor who just won the lotto, you're gonna think, Look, I think Brentford are going to continue to look quite blunt in Tony's absence. I reckon the Saints will dominate possession of the ball with over 55%. I mean, it's wild. They've lost both Premier League games so far without scoring a goal, sure, but across their 3 competitive games so far this month, they have averaged 71.9% possession a game. Yeah, to put that in context, that is higher than Man City Centurions team of 2018, the greatest Premier League team ever built. It's slightly lower than Barcelona's 72.8% average possession under Guardiola, the season they won the Champions League in 2011. That is crazy. So yeah, if they record lower than 55% possession, then I will mow somebody's lawn using my teeth. And so yeah, surely all that possession is going to pay off eventually. I'll go for a quality man of the match debut from Aaron Ramsdale in goal. I mean, lads, this is somebody who the Gunners only ever allowed to play against Brentford last year. Just like Jason Statham, the bees are a speciality. I mean, I assume I've never seen the film. So yeah, no, this won't be a smash and grab. It'll just be an utterly dominant Southampton display with Ben Brereton Diaz stealing the goal. Everton versus Bournemouth.
Everton, the other half of Liverpool, the poorer half of Liverpool, the less successful half of Liverpool, the blue half of Liverpool, the bitter half of Liverpool.
I don't think he likes Everton.
I've gone for Everton 1, Bournemouth 2. I've been really impressed with Bournemouth under Iriola.
You see? Do you see? It's not just me who loves Iriola ball. Thank you, Craig. You are clearly a man of culture and class.
So I've gone for a 2-1 victory to the away side. Home goal, I've gone for Dwight McNeil. Evan Nielsen and Semenyo are my score predictions for Bournemouth. So Everton 1, Bournemouth 2, my score there.
Interesting prediction. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win. I do think Bournemouth will absolutely wolf the Toffees down like a pack of biscuits. But no, I think Bournemouth will go 2-0 up through Evan Nielsen and Dango Utara before Calvert-Lewin bundles in a late clunky consolation. But ultimately, yes, Bournemouth will win. And if they somehow lose to this horrible, dreadful Toffee side, then I will spend 30 seconds insulting Iriola. And lads, that would physically hurt my stomach. It would feel like I'm slagging off my nan. Ipswich versus Fulham.
Next up is Premier League newcomers Ipswich and Fulham. And let me just say, as somebody who has an uncle who's an Ipswich Town supporter, great to see them back.
Can we please stop talking about uncles?
And I really do hope that they remain in the Premier League. This one, I've gone for a draw, 1-1. Goal for Fulham, I'm going to go for Iwobi, but for the home side of Ipswich, I'm going to go for Liam Delap.
I commend this man for having some morsel of faith in Rory Delap's son to score. But am I the only one who just sees a lanky beanpole who does not belong? I feel like we saw this last season. He's just a sequel to Ollie McBurney. And as with the exception of the Batman and Godfather trilogies, sequels are always worse. Look, I said Ipswich will go down, but newly promoted teams are always better at the start of the season. They are more likely to get Premier League wins then, when they're still coasting high on adrenaline, before they've had the morale beaten out of them with a shoe. This would be like when Hull City got their first Premier League win in 2008, beating Fulham 2-1 on the opening day. I think a similar thing. 2-1. I'll go for an early strike from Sammy Smodics, who is just a week away from scoring the actual winner against England. He's going to be our very own version of David Healy, who weirdly played for Fulham. Just wait and see. But yeah, Brazilian midfield maestro Andres Pereira will level it up for Fulham with a wonder goal from outside the box before the captain, Sam Morsy, the Prince of Egypt, scrambles in an emotional late winner. Just you watch. Leicester versus Aston Villa.
Who can but be impressed with Unai Emery's incredible work at Aston Villa during his time there? He's taken them into the Champions League. Yes, they lost Douglas Luiz in the summer, but they are still a force to be reckoned with. A very well coached side, and I can't see anything other than an away victory here. So I've gone for a scoreline of Leicester 0, Aston Villa 2, and a double from Ollie Watkins.
Nah, I think Ollie Watkins is going to have a stinker of a season. It's actually mental to think it was less than 10 years ago, where in the actual Premier League, Aston Villa finished bottom and Leicester finished top. There was a 64 points difference between these two clubs only 8 years ago. And yet now, Villa fans will probably vomit up a cauliflower if you tipped them to lose there on Saturday. But yeah, this will be a Villa win, but no goal from Watkins. No, instead, I think this is going to be an exact replica of October 2020. 1-0 with a last-minute Ross Barkley strike. Nottingham Forest versus Wolves.
This is a difficult one to pick, actually, because I'm not all that up on Nottingham Forest and the squad that they have. Of course, I know that they've got a cast of thousands. Mini Chelsea, let's call them that. So I've gone for Nottingham Forest 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. I'm going for Callum Hudson-Odoi to be the scorer for Forest, and Cunha to continue his impressive spell for Wolves. Well, I say impressive, they were beaten 6-2.
Okay, interesting. A 1-1 draw for Craig. But not me. Oh no, I reckon the Wolves are going to be eaten with a spoon. Lads, now that Gary O'Neill has penned his fat 4-year contract, I think the race is on to see how long the Wolves board will wait before actually sacking him. And it's their own stupidity that they're now going to have to pay out a huge compensation. You shouldn't have given O'Neill a long contract. In the same way nobody should ever propose to that drunken granny who eats birds at the airport. I think Forrest, while they might be everyone else's favourite to get relegated, I think they're going to surprise a few this season. And lads, this is a managerial battle between an experienced Nuno Santo, someone who has coached some elite footballers like Neves, Kane, Kante, Benzema, and he's up against someone who used to fetch Klopp his tea and after eights. I think this new look Brazilian Forest absolutely spanks Wolves 3-0. Goals from Anthony Elanga, Ibrahim Sangari and Ryan Yates. Just you watch, Wolves are getting grilled. And lads, if Wolves win, then I will stand by the side of a motorway holding a sign that says, "Honk if you fancy your dog." West Ham versus Man City.
Let me just mention this. I hate Manchester City and everything that they stand for and their current guys. I hate the fact that they're still doing what they're doing in the Premier League, and I cannot wait for these charges to be finally heard, because I don't believe a word of the defence. But you probably know that if you know anything about my content at this point.
I don't think he likes City either.
I always like West Ham. Really interested to see how they get on under Julian Lopetegui. And of course, when you've got Jared Bowen there, you always have a chance to score in the game. So I've gone in this one for West Ham 1, Manchester City 3, unfortunately, because they are that good, and despite all my other complaints about them on the pitch this season and every other season, they seem to be quite impressive. So I'm going for a Jared Bowen goal for the home side, a double for Erling Braut Haaland and Bernardo Silva, a player who I absolutely admire from a footballing perspective, but not really fond of as a human being.
Yeah, same here. I like West Ham's transfer business, but Man City will still win. I'll go for a 2-0 Man City win. And I hope they give a proper tribute to former City boss Sven-Göran Eriksson. Because lads, I've always thought this man was an elite coach who was so disrespected by his own England players. Even inside the last year, I've always thought it was so tasteless when players like Rio Ferdinand would allude to the failure of the golden generation because they didn't have the right coach. All I've ever heard is how these players didn't agree with Scholes being played out wide or with the inclusion of Walcott. So many complaints, when in reality, this man was 2 penalty shootouts against Portugal away from a Euro 2024 semi-final against Holland and then a World Cup 2006 semi-final against France. Put some respect on Sven's name, and I actually think it's fitting that the first game after his passing is West Ham versus Man City, because it sounds weird, but to me, this is one of the defining fixtures of Sven's career, because it just vividly sticks in my brain. The opening game of the 07-08 season, Sven's first ever Premier League match, he had taken over a very depressing City team, which had just finished 14th under Stuart Pearce. This was such a grueling, ugly side who had incredibly failed to score in their own stadium from January 1st until mid-August. This was a huge monumental task for Sven to refresh this stale as dead bread side, and yet within weeks of taking the job, I remember watching this new look Man City team suddenly brimming with a confidence and a swagger and winning 2-0 away at West Ham. Within a few weeks they were beating Man United and going top of the league. To me, this whole Man City wave of momentum actually began a year before the takeover with Sven and with this match against West Ham. So yeah, I think this will be the same as 2007, 2-0 with goals from Erling Haaland and Savio. Chelsea versus Crystal Palace.
Chelsea 3, Crystal Palace 1 is my prediction in this one. I'm going to go for it. Neto to score for Chelsea and a brace for Cole Palmer. What a signing Cole Palmer has been. And I really do like the fact that he left Manchester City to go to Chelsea and is doing so well there. Although I'm not really that fond of Chelsea either, to be honest. But I do think Cole Palmer is an incredible young player. Brace for him, 1 for Neto. And then I'm going for Mateta to score for Crystal Palace.
Neto, really? He's going to be an injury-riddled muffin all season long? Look, I know everyone is getting mad excited about Chelsea scoring 6 versus Wolves. But no, I have said this will be a crazy, chaotic season for them. And so yeah, they'll just be as disorganized as they were as they eventually became under Frank Lampard. This will be a typical Lampard match. Remember back in 2020 when they drew 3-3 with West Brom and then 3-3 with Southampton? Yeah, similar thing here. 3-3. An absolutely crazy game with goals from Nottingham Wake, Cole Palmer, João Felix, Daichi Kamada, Ebereki Edzzy, and weirdly, Odsna Dwart. Just you watch. Chelsea are not winning this. Newcastle versus Tottenham.
Newcastle against Spurs. And look, I have to say, I've got immense respect for Newcastle. Obviously, the Irish guy supports them.
Shh! It's a secret! Nobody's watching this long into the video, it's fine. I can do and say what I want 8 minutes into a video, it's fine. I sneak into farms to the cowpats late at night.
Our friend Brian supports him as well, or True Geordie, as you guys will probably know him. So I'm going to go for this being a Desmond 2-2. So I'm going to go Newcastle 2, Spurs 2. Scorer, well, Anthony Gordon, who will, by the way, be a Liverpool player in the future. I can't not get that little dig in, Michael. Sorry. What was that you said, Michael? Bellingham? Never heard of him. Don't know what you're talking about.
No. Look, I get that Craig is optimistic about Liverpool poaching Anthony Gordon in the future, but I just don't see it. I just don't know if a star player like Gordon can be bothered with the hassle of once again living in the same city as Everton fans, who now all universally despise him. The man is worshipped and adored on Tyneside. You really think he's going to want to subject himself to a life of staying indoors for fear of having angry blue noses giving him death stares in the queue at Starbucks? You really think he's going to want to risk some horrible Everton fan working behind the till at Tesco trying to sneak a jar of dog sick into his girlfriend's handbag?
So we're going to have Anthony Gordon to score and then Bruno Guimaraes for the home side. For Spurs, I'm going to go for Son and Solanke to break his duck and score for them.
Tottenham usually melt on trips to St. James's Park. They've conceded 10 goals in the last 2 trips. I actually think this one will be a draw. Newcastle haven't really clicked yet this season. And yeah, I know I should say that Postecoglou will play once again right into Eddie Howe's hands, but I just can't see past a 1-1 draw. Alexander Isak and a late James Maddison goal. Man United versus Liverpool.
Last up, and the game of the weekend, let's be honest, is Manchester United against my club, Liverpool. This one, I've tried to be as honest as I can in my assessment of it. I think if you match them up, both sides, Liverpool are the better team. But I'm also old enough to remember that these fixtures, sometimes form goes right out the window. Taking all that into account, and the fact that, of course, Anthony Taylor of Greater Manchester is the referee, I've gone for Manchester United 1, Liverpool 2. I do think we'll win the game by an odd goal. I'm going for Xerxes to score for United, and Mohamed Salah and Alexis McAllister are my score predictions for Liverpool. So they are my Premier League predictions. We would, of course, love you guys to come over and check out Anfield Agenda if you have time. Thank you so much to the Irish guy for inviting me across. Thank you to you guys for watching. And they're my score predictions for this weekend's Premier League games.
Interesting. This is an avid Liverpool fan, and he's only going for a 2-1 margin. So am I being stupid to think the Reds will win 2-0? Lads, I like the Man United transfer window, but Erik ten Hag is still Erik ten Hag. There's nothing fresh or exciting about him. But Arne Slot, he's refreshed some Liverpool players. They've looked good so far. They just thumped Man United in pre-season. I don't think this will be a great game. I think it'll be nervy and tense. But I reckon the Reds will break away and score 2 late goals. I feel like how they did exactly that against Arsenal in the FA Cup back in January. I'll go from late goals from Luis Diaz and Diogo Jota. And Liverpool will get their first win at Old Trafford for nearly 3 years. Since that 5-0 win. Anyway, that is the end of the video. Massive thanks to Craig and Anfield Agenda, who are absolutely smashing it over there in their channel. Go give them a look. And as it stands, Craig is the first competitor so far. He has laid down the gauntlet. He is the man to beat, or else I'm going bold. So let me know in the comments who you want to see me challenge for Premier League Game Week 4. And that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to go like, share, and subscribe as always. I'll talk to you in a while. Please don't make me go bald.